today I'm making one of my all-time favorite African comfort foods. In Zimbabwe, it's called sadza, but when you travel throughout Africa, it's known by different names, from ugali to fufu to kenki, shima. It's basically names for the same type of food. It is a starch, and it is the cornerstone of your meal. On my back here is Akili, my last born child. You see, in Africa, we don't have the luxuries of being able to call in for pizza or pick up something on your way home from work. And so many a times, African women get their kids on their back and go ahead and make dinner. So Akili and I are making dinner tonight. Let's get started. We're going to start out with our chicken stew. This is going to be our accompaniment to the sadza. It's chicken stew and some sauteed vegetables. We like to start out with the stew because the chicken takes a little bit longer to cook. So we're going to go ahead. I already cut up my chicken in preparation for tonight. It's basically a stewing hen. I like to use a stewing hen because it has so much flavor to it, and part of the cooking process actually allows the flavors to develop. You can use any type of chicken that you have in your house, but the stewing hen is much better because the meat is a little bit tougher in texture and it's actually better when you cook it. Alright, so we're going to season our stewing hen with some curry powder, about 3 tablespoons. Some paprika for color, 1 tablespoon, I'll add a little bit, 1.5 tablespoons, and some piri piri. Now, in Africa, the saying is that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and piri piri is the love portion to that stomach. So you have to know exactly how much piri piri to add. Too much piri piri is too much of a love portion, and you never want that. Too little piri piri, that will chase the guy away. So you have to make sure you get the right amount of piri piri in there. I just like to add just there's my love portion in there. Okay, and of course the world seasoning, a little bit of salt. All right, and it's basically your salt to taste. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and get dirty. Just go ahead and mix up your flavorings in there. I can smell the curry coming together. Love the smell of curry. Now, a lot of people always say curry's not African. But African cooking is a whole array of different cultures that have come in together and been blended together to create a lot of cuisine. And so it's a borrowed flavoring, but it's now become one of those spices that you go into any African kitchen, you're more likely to find. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and heat up a pot of oil, and I'll be right back. Don't go away. Oil is hot now. We're going to go ahead and put our chicken into our hot oil and sear in those flavors of the chicken. Okay, there you go. Make sure that you get all the pieces of your chicken and all that flavoring left in your thing, in your bowl, okay? Go ahead and put it in there. Let it brown, and then while it's browning, we're going to go ahead and get our onions and our tomatoes. Now, a lot of people always tell me that they don't like to cook with onions that much because the onions tend to get into, okay, hold on. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people tell me that they don't like to cut onions because onions make them cry. But my secret to cutting onions is to basically go ahead and put them in the fridge. And that kind of takes away a lot of that juice that tends to flow out. I put them in the fridge right before cooking, and it sort of freezes the onion juice. And I don't cry as much or tear up as much when I'm doing this. So that actually comes into play, and it does help a lot. It also helps when you're using a bigger knife for cutting the onions, because then you can just cut them nicely into the shape that you want. Okay, I'm going to take a look at my pot over here. Smells delicious. Okay, as you can tell, it's starting to yellow up a little bit. Okay, I can smell the curry all the way. Absolutely divine. Love the smell of cooking curry. Okay, we're gonna let it continue to brown a little bit. Grab a little plate. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil, a little bit more oil. Initially I added about a tablespoon, but it looks like my chicken needs a little bit more oil. And you can kind of gauge it by yourself and see, oh, how is it looking? Do I need to add more? Do I need to add a little bit less? Okay, next we're going to prepare our garlic. Garlic is one of those spices that is so common in Africa. Almost every kitchen has them. And with every garlic clove that you use, there's always a little pestle, a mortar that you use to just pound it up. Now, just the pounding process actually helps to relieve some of the flavor and release it from the actual clove. And you don't have to pound it into a perfect like paste. Just to pound it enough just to get the shape out there. All right. Our chicken is coming along. You can tell it's nice and yellow, and the curry powder is all in there, and the piri and paprika are giving it a nice resonance, right? Nice color to it. This is going to be yummy. It's just one of my favorite comfort foods. Every time it rains, I find myself, oh, I'm going to make a stewed chicken. And the thing about the chicken is, in Africa we call it a road runner. Because it's that little chicken that just runs all over the place, you know. It's like you find it running on the road and it's like, oh, there's your little road runner. You really don't feed it much of the feed. It's just eating whatever it is that it can find. It doesn't need a special diet. The meat of this little chicken is so tough. It's like your athlete. You know, your athlete has all these muscles that they use, and so they have really a tight body. Same thing with the chicken. It's been running around a lot, and so it's full of flavor and really good. We're going to go ahead and throw in our onions in the pot. Okay, I'm going to let this sizzle a little bit more. I'm going to cut up my bell pepper and tomatoes. When we come back, it'll be time to add them into the pot. Stay tuned. So our stew is ready. It has been cooking for about 2.5 hours, and now it is ready. It is thick, beautiful, smells absolutely delicious, and ready to be served. Okay, just gonna go ahead and put it into a serving dish and leave it aside for dinner. Now, sometimes you can just go ahead and leave it on the stove, but I like to just go ahead and finish off everything, put it away, and wash the dishes so that by the time dinner is done, I don't have that many dishes to wash. It gives me more time with my little boys. Yes, more time with you. Yeah, with you and your brother and daddy. Yes, yes, yes. And there's our stew. Simple African stew goes great with sadza, ugali, shima, fufu, whatever it is that you want to call it. But don't forget the greens, because the greens are very, very important. I'm going to continue on with the rest of my dinner. You have a good day.